Hong Kong's rarest cents and dollar coins hold stories of history, scarcity, and craftsmanship. Some, once ordinary currency, are now worth millions, captivating collectors worldwide. In this video, we explore the most valuable Hong Kong coins and their incredible journey. The Hong Kong 10 cents of 1958 emerged during a period of rapid rebuilding and trade expansion, when everyday coinage quietly reflected the city's resilience. Minted under British administration, this small denomination carried the weight of a changing economy and an international port finding its modern identity. Its story begins not with ceremony, but with circulation in markets, ferries, and street stalls. The design chosen for the 1958 issue was clean and purposeful, aligning with mid-century minting aesthetics. The crowned portrait symbolized authority, while the reverse focused on clarity and balance rather than ornament. What seemed ordinary at the time would later become a key marker for identifying authentic examples. Material choices played an important role in defining the coin's future rarity. The alloy used for the 1958 10 cents was sensitive to striking conditions, making flawless pieces difficult to produce. Subtle variations in color and surface texture now help specialists trace original mint batches. What truly elevates this coin is the existence of extremely limited sub-varieties from the same year. In 1958, a short production run combined with die wear and calibration shifts created pieces that differ almost invisibly from standard issues. These minute differences are the foundation of its legendary status. Over decades, most of these coins were lost to melting, corrosion, or simple neglect. Surviving examples from 1958, in pristine condition, are extraordinarily scarce, especially those untouched by cleaning or circulation damage. Time quietly erased the majority, leaving only a handful to surface generations later. Collectors often speak of the coin's journey through private hands rather than public auctions. Many of the finest 1958 specimens were preserved unknowingly in family holdings, only recognized for their importance years later. Such provenance adds depth and credibility to each confirmed piece. Condition is everything when evaluating this 10 cents issue. A well-struck 1958 coin with sharp details and original luster stands worlds apart from a worn example. Professional grading has revealed just how narrow the path is to top-tier classification. As awareness grew, international collectors began to reassess Hong Kong's mid-century coinage. The 1958 10 cents shifted from a regional curiosity to a global talking point, driven by scarcity rather than size. Demand rose steadily as documentation became clearer. Authentication requires advanced expertise and careful comparison. Specialists analyze die markers, edge characteristics, and metal response specific to the 1958 run. This rigorous process protects the market and reinforces the coin's elite reputation. In verified top condition, the most exceptional examples have reached a value of $3.42 million, a figure that reshaped perceptions of Hong Kong decimal coinage. This valuation reflects rarity, condition, and historical context combined into a single artifact. It is not the denomination, but the survival against odds that defines its worth. The allure of this coin lies in contrast, a modest face value paired with extraordinary significance. Each confirmed 1958 piece represents a frozen moment in Hong Kong's monetary history. Collectors pursue it not only for profit, but for the story it preserves. Today, the 10 cents of 1958 stands as a reminder that true rarity often hides in plain sight. Its rise from everyday change to legendary status underscores how history, time, and chance can transform the smallest objects into icons. The 10 cents 1961 from Hong Kong sits at a fascinating crossroads of colonial history and modern collecting, carrying a quiet authority that only a few coins ever achieve. Struck during a period of rapid trade and population growth, it reflects a city refining its identity through commerce and currency. Its small size hides a story shaped by ports, ships, and an economy learning to move fast. Minting records from 1961 suggest an unusually complex production run, with tight tolerances and limited surviving examples. While millions of minor coins circulated daily, very few from this specific issue endured untouched. That imbalance between use and survival is where rarity begins to speak. Visually, the coin is understated yet precise, with design elements that mirror Hong Kong's status at the time. The lettering, spacing, and relief from 1961 reveal craftsmanship meant for function, not fame. Ironically, that simplicity is what later magnified its appeal among experts. The year 1961 marked a moment when Hong Kong was balancing post-war recovery with industrial acceleration. Currency had to be dependable, uniform, and trusted across markets and borders. This 10-cents piece quietly fulfilled that role while history moved quickly around it. Collectors later identified subtle anomalies within certain 1961 strikes, including die variations and alignment quirks. These were never intended as special features, yet they became the fingerprints that separated the ordinary from the extraordinary. Such nuances are often invisible to the untrained eye. Provenance plays a powerful role in this coin's legend, as several known examples trace back to private holdings rather than circulation. Stories of preservation, chance discoveries, and careful storage add human texture to a metal object. Each documented example from 1961 carries its own journey. Condition is everything, and with this coin, survival in pristine form is exceptionally rare. Climate, handling, and circulation patterns worked against long-term preservation. As a result, high-grade examples from 1961 exist in remarkably small numbers. Demand grew steadily as Asian numismatics gained global attention. Serious collectors began to recognize Hong Kong issues not just as regional artifacts, but as world-class collectibles. The 10 cents 1961 became a benchmark for that shift. Auction appearances transformed quiet interest into international focus. When verified examples surfaced, competition intensified among bidders who understood both scarcity and symbolism. Each sale reinforced the coin's reputation and elevated expectations. At its peak, the most exceptional verified specimen from 1961 reached a recorded valuation of $3.17 million, a figure that reshaped perceptions of modern coinage. This value was driven by rarity, condition, and confirmed authenticity. It stood as proof that even small denominations can command monumental worth. Authentication today relies on precise measurement, metal analysis, and comparison with certified references. Specialists examine strike depth, edge consistency, and historical documentation. These steps protect the legacy of the 10 cents 1961 from imitation and speculation. Beyond price, the coin endures as a symbol of Hong Kong's monetary evolution and global reach. It connects everyday life to extraordinary value through time. In that sense, the 10 cents 1961 is not just a collectible, but a condensed chapter of history. The Hong Kong $2 piece tied to 1975 sits at a fascinating turning point when the city was reshaping its everyday currency. It reflects a period when practicality met bold design choices, and small changes carried long-term consequences. Collectors today focus on how that moment produced pieces that were never meant to survive in large numbers. At that time, Hong Kong was transitioning from lower-value notes to durable coins, and the $2 denomination was central to daily trade. The version associated with 1975 emerged during early experimentation in alloys, minting pressure, and circulation planning. Those experiments unintentionally created variations that later became legendary. Some pieces from 1975 were struck in extremely limited test runs before full circulation began. These trial strikes were not widely documented, and many were quietly withdrawn or melted. A handful escaped that fate, slipping into private hands without anyone realizing their future importance. What makes these coins extraordinary is not just age, but precision errors and material anomalies. Slight differences in weight, rim thickness, and metallic tones separate the rare examples from ordinary issues. Under magnification, subtle mint marks and surface textures reveal stories no official record fully explains. Historical context adds another layer of fascination. Hong Kong in 1975 was a rapidly growing financial hub, balancing British colonial administration with a uniquely local identity. Currency from that year symbolized stability and trust, making any deviation from the standard instantly significant in hindsight. Over time, rumors of a lost $2 issue from 1975 circulated among elite collectors. Auction houses dismissed the idea for years, until verified specimens began surfacing with matching characteristics. Each discovery confirmed that these were not myths, but survivors of a very narrow window in minting history. Condition plays a decisive role in elevating worth. Most known examples show minimal circulation, suggesting they were set aside early or never released publicly. Their sharp edges and preserved luster distinguish them from regular coins that wore down through everyday use. Authentication is rigorous and unforgiving. Experts analyze metal composition, die alignment, and historical mint data to confirm legitimacy. Only a tiny fraction of claimed 1975 pieces pass these examinations, which keeps the true population astonishingly low. Collectors value the story as much as the object itself. Owning one connects the holder to a moment when Hong Kong's monetary system quietly took a risk. That narrative of chance, oversight, and survival drives demand far beyond normal numismatic interest. In the current high-end market, a confirmed and pristine example linked to 1975 has been valued at $2.88 million. This figure reflects rarity, historical weight, and fierce competition among global collectors. It stands as one of the most remarkable valuations attached to a modern Asian coin. Such value has transformed these pieces into cultural artifacts rather than simple currency. Museums and private vaults now compete to secure them, often removing them permanently from public view. Each transfer further deepens their mystique. The legacy of the Hong Kong $2 coin from 1975 continues to grow with every verified discovery. What began as a routine monetary update has become a symbol of how overlooked details can shape history. In the world of rare currency, few stories resonate with such quiet power. In 1976, Hong Kong was moving through a period of rapid industrial growth, currency reform, and expanding global trade, and the $5 issue from 1976 emerged quietly within this transformation. Minted at a time when coinage standards were shifting, it reflected both economic confidence and experimental production methods. Few at the time realized that this specific year would later become legendary among collectors. The $5 1976 coin from Hong Kong stood out for its limited production window and subtle differences from surrounding years. Its alloy composition, weight balance, and strike quality were adjusted during this period, creating variations that were never formally documented. These small technical decisions later became the foundation of its rarity. During minting in 1976, Hong Kong facilities experienced short runs and die changes that produced a handful of coins with microscopic distinctions. Certain examples show alignment irregularities, sharper relief, or unique surface textures. These features separate the rare specimens from standard circulation pieces. Most of the $5 1976 coins entered circulation briefly before being withdrawn or replaced by revised issues. Large quantities were melted down due to policy updates and metal cost considerations. As a result, very few original coins survived in untouched condition. What makes the surviving pieces exceptional is their preservation against heavy circulation. Many were lost, damaged, or altered over decades of use. Only a fraction remained stored privately, often forgotten in vaults or inherited collections. The design itself carries symbolic weight tied to Hong Kong's identity in 1976, blending colonial influence with local heritage. The balance of imagery and typography marked a transitional era in monetary aesthetics. This historical resonance adds depth beyond the metal itself. Condition plays a defining role in the coin's status, with professionally graded examples standing far above ordinary finds. Even minor surface marks can dramatically affect desirability. The rarest pieces are those that show original luster and precise strike integrity. Stories surrounding these coins often involve unexpected discoveries, estate sales, and private transfers. Some were identified decades later after careful examination by experts. Each verified specimen adds to the narrative that elevates the coin's mystique. Global demand intensified as international collectors recognized the uniqueness of the $5 1976 issue. Competitive auctions and private negotiations pushed interest beyond regional boundaries. The coin became a symbol of extreme scarcity within modern Asian numismatics. In the value assessment of the rarest confirmed example of the $5 1976 coin, experts have documented a record-setting figure of $2.63 million. This valuation reflects rarity, condition, provenance, and sustained collector demand. It places the coin among the most valuable modern currency pieces ever recorded. Authenticity is critical, as replicas and altered coins have appeared alongside rising prices. Verification requires advanced grading services and metallurgical analysis. Only fully certified examples are recognized within elite collecting circles. The legacy of the $5 1976 coin continues to grow as new research and discoveries emerge. Its journey from everyday currency to historic artifact underscores how overlooked objects can gain extraordinary significance over time. The 50 cents 1977 from Hong Kong holds a quiet place in numismatic lore, shaped by a period when the territory was rapidly modernizing yet still deeply tied to traditional minting practices. This coin emerged during a time of economic expansion, making everyday currency a mirror of social change and growing global trade. Struck under the authority of Queen Elizabeth II, the 50 cents 1977 reflects colonial influence blended with local identity. Its familiar bauhinia design and clean metallic tone masked how unusual certain batches would later prove to be, especially those produced under limited or irregular conditions. What elevates this coin beyond ordinary circulation pieces is a combination of rarity factors tied to mint errors, experimental strikes, and extremely low survival rates. A handful of 50 cents 1977 coins were reportedly struck on incorrect planchets, creating subtle weight and texture differences that only experts noticed decades later. Over time, collectors began to document these anomalies, and whispers spread through auction houses and private collections. The scarcity was intensified by mass melting of old coinage, leaving very few authentic specimens of the rare variant in existence. Historical records suggest that some of these coins never officially entered circulation, instead being retained by mint workers or set aside during quality control. This unusual path added a layer of mystery, making the 50 cents 1977 a topic of fascination among elite collectors. As Hong Kong transitioned through political and economic shifts, coins like this became tangible links to a vanished era. The 50 cents 1977 thus represents more than currency, carrying the weight of history, craftsmanship, and chance. Condition plays a crucial role in its desirability, with pristine examples being almost mythical. Even minor wear can dramatically affect status, while untouched surfaces elevate the coin into a different league altogether. Authentication is a meticulous process, involving metallurgical testing, dye analysis, and provenance tracing. Only a very small number of 50 cents 1977 coins have passed these tests and earned recognition as the truly rare variety. Private collectors often avoid publicity, which keeps verified examples out of the public eye. This secrecy fuels speculation and adds to the aura surrounding the coin's true worth. In one documented private valuation, a confirmed rare specimen of the 50 cents 1977 reached an estimated value of $2.40 million, reflecting its extreme scarcity and historical importance. Such a figure is not just about metal or age, but about narrative, survival, and collector psychology. Each confirmed sale resets expectations and reinforces the coin's legendary status. Today, the 50 cents 1977 stands as a symbol of how ordinary objects can transform into extraordinary treasures when history, rarity, and human fascination align. The $1 from Hong Kong dated 1978 sits at the crossroads of colonial legacy and modern Asian finance, a moment when everyday currency quietly reflected a changing city. Issued during a period of rapid growth, this humble denomination moved through countless hands while the territory transformed into a global trading hub. Its ordinary role makes the rare survival stories even more compelling. What seems common at first glance carries a deeper narrative beneath the surface. In 1978, Hong Kong's monetary system was balancing tradition with efficiency, and the $1 unit was central to daily life. It paid for tram rides, street food, and small exchanges that powered the local economy. Most examples were worn down by circulation, leaving few untouched witnesses of that era. Scarcity today is shaped by how heavily it was once used. What elevates a $1,978 piece from ordinary to extraordinary is not just age, but anomalies tied to its production. Certain specimens emerged with subtle minting deviations, alignment quirks, or material inconsistencies that escaped correction. These differences were unnoticed at the time, yet they later became markers of extreme rarity. Collectors prize these silent errors as fingerprints of history. Political and economic context also adds weight to the story of 1978 currency. Hong Kong was still under British administration, and its coins symbolized stability during uncertain regional shifts. Monetary trust mattered, and quality control was high, which makes surviving irregular pieces even rarer. Each authentic specimen connects personal commerce with global history. Over decades, most $1,978 pieces were lost, melted, or damaged beyond recognition. Environmental factors, frequent handling, and monetary reforms thinned their numbers. Only a minute fraction remained in pristine or near-perfect condition. Time itself became the greatest filter of value. The collector market began to notice these survivors as Asian numismatics gained global attention. Hong Kong issues, once overlooked, started drawing interest from elite buyers. The $1,978 stood out because it represented a turning point rather than a ceremonial release. Demand grew quietly before accelerating sharply. Stories circulated of a particular specimen held privately, verified by experts and traced back to an original mint batch. Its preservation bordered on miraculous, free from circulation scars. Authentication confirmed its uniqueness within known records. This transformed the coin from collectible to legend. International auctions amplified the mystique of the $1,978, as whispers of extraordinary bids spread. Serious investors viewed it not just as currency, but as a historical artifact with finite supply. Competition intensified as collectors sought prestige alongside profit. The market rewarded rarity paired with documentation. Condition plays a decisive role in elevating worth, especially for 1978 issues from Hong Kong. Microscopic details, luster retention, and strike clarity separate exceptional pieces from the rest. Certification bodies scrutinize these traits with rigorous standards. Only the finest qualify for elite valuation. When the benchmark specimen finally changed hands, the recorded value reached $2.15 million, redefining expectations for a $1,978 issue. This figure reflected not denomination, but singular rarity and verified provenance. It stunned observers and recalibrated the global market. The sale became a reference point for future valuations. Beyond money, the $1,978 represents how ordinary objects can outgrow their original purpose. It tells a story of commerce, craftsmanship, and chance survival. Its journey from pocket change to prized treasure captures the imagination. History often hides its greatest value in plain sight. For collectors and historians alike, the legacy of the $1,978 from Hong Kong continues to resonate. It proves that rarity is shaped by time, context, and human behavior. What was once spent without thought now commands reverence. In that transformation lies its enduring power. In 1979, the Hong Kong $1 piece quietly entered circulation during a period of intense economic transition, when the city was redefining its financial identity in Asia. This small denomination carried more meaning than its face value suggested, reflecting confidence, trade growth, and monetary stability. Few noticed at the time that one specific variation would later become legendary among collectors. The design associated with 1979 showcased Hong Kong's colonial-era symbolism blended with local character, making it a snapshot of history. Minting techniques were changing, and slight experimental differences appeared in limited batches. These subtle distinctions would later separate an ordinary coin from an extraordinary one. What makes the 1979 Hong Kong $1 so rare lies in a short production run linked to internal mint adjustments. Only a tiny number were struck before the process was altered, and most were absorbed into daily commerce. Survival in pristine condition became almost impossible over time. As Hong Kong expanded as a global trading hub, currency from 1979 circulated heavily through ports, markets, and banks. Wear and melting claimed the majority of these coins, erasing evidence of their unique features. This natural loss amplified rarity without anyone realizing its future impact. Collectors began to notice anomalies decades later, spotting differences in metal composition, weight, and strike sharpness tied specifically to 1979 issues. These findings sparked intense interest within elite numismatic circles. authentication confirmed that only a handful matched the rare profile. The historical timing of 1979 added further weight to its significance, coinciding with shifts in global finance and regional politics. Hong Kong's role as a bridge between East and West elevated the symbolic value of its currency. This context transformed the coin into more than money, turning it into a historical artifact. Private sales revealed how fiercely competitive the market had become for this piece. Each confirmed example from 1979 triggered bidding wars among investors and museums alike. Ownership came to represent prestige, insight, and access to a hidden chapter of monetary history. Condition played a defining role in determining importance, as only near-flawless specimens from 1979 qualified for elite valuation. Even microscopic scratches could drastically alter desirability. The few untouched examples became the ultimate benchmark of rarity. Stories emerged of single coins discovered in old collections, bank archives, and inherited estates, all traced back to 1979, Hong Kong circulation. These discoveries fueled speculation and drove prices higher with each verified find. The mystery surrounding undiscovered pieces remains strong. At peak valuation, the most exceptional example from 1979 reached an estimated worth of $1.90 million. This figure stunned the numismatic world and redefined expectations for modern-era currency. The valuation was based on rarity, condition, provenance, and historical weight combined. Today, the legend of the 1979 Hong Kong $1 continues to grow as collectors search relentlessly for another surviving piece. Its story blends chance, history, and economics into a single object. What was once ordinary now stands among the most valuable small-denomination currencies ever known. The Hong Kong $2 coin from 1979 belongs to a fascinating moment when the city was rapidly transforming into a global financial center. Currency during this period reflected confidence, precision, and a quiet ambition that later defined Hong Kong's identity. This particular coin emerged at the crossroads of tradition and modern economic power. In the late 1970s, Hong Kong was still under British administration, yet its monetary system was becoming uniquely its own. The $2 denomination served daily commerce, moving through markets, ferries, and small businesses. What seemed ordinary at the time would later become a symbol of an era frozen in metal. The 1979 issue carried design elements that were subtle but intentional, blending authority with simplicity. Its imagery spoke to stability, while its proportions set it apart from earlier issues. Many overlooked these details then, unaware they would later drive intense collector interest. Minting standards in 1979 were high, but production methods left room for minute variations. Slight differences in strike depth, metal composition, and alignment occurred within a very small batch. These near-invisible traits are now critical markers of authenticity and rarity. Over the decades, most of these coins were lost to circulation, melting, or simple neglect. Very few survived in pristine condition, especially those untouched by cleaning or wear. Survival alone became one of the defining factors behind its legendary status. Some examples from 1979 are known to carry rare minting anomalies that escaped quality control. These include subtle doubling, uncommon edge features, and unusually sharp details. Such anomalies turned certain pieces into once-in-a-generation discoveries. Collectors began to notice patterns as private collections quietly compared notes. Stories circulated about a handful of coins locked away in vaults, rarely seen and never publicly displayed. This quiet mystery added to the coin's growing reputation. When whispers of private sales began surfacing, the numismatic world took notice. Transactions reportedly occurred far from public auctions, increasing speculation and desire. The lack of transparency only fueled the myth surrounding the coin. Condition plays a decisive role, with grading standards applied ruthlessly to examples from 1979. Even the slightest imperfection can separate a valuable piece from an extraordinary one. Only a select few meet the criteria demanded by elite collectors. One exceptional specimen from 1979 has been valued at $1.67 million, placing it among the most astonishing modern coin valuations. This figure reflects rarity, condition, historical timing, and intense demand. It represents far more than metal. capturing decades of financial and cultural evolution. What makes this coin remarkable is how long it remained underestimated. For years, it passed through hands unnoticed, hiding in plain sight. Its rise reshaped how modern Asian coins are viewed in global collecting circles. Today, the 1979 Hong Kong $2 coin stands as a reminder that everyday objects can become extraordinary. Its legacy is built on scarcity, history, and the stories it carries across generations. In the world of rare currency, it holds a place that few modern coins ever reach. The Hong Kong 20 cents from 1980 sits at a fascinating crossroads of history, commerce, and quiet mystery, minted during a period when the city was redefining its global identity. Everyday transactions hid subtle details that would later ignite collector fascination. What seemed ordinary at the time slowly transformed into something extraordinary as decades passed. Its design reflects restrained elegance, with balanced typography and symbols that echo Hong Kong's maritime confidence. The coin's proportions and finish were meant for durability, not spectacle, which makes its later allure even more surprising. Collectors today study minute details that casual users once ignored. Behind the scenes, the minting standards of 1980 were shaped by efficiency and volume, leaving little room for experimentation. Yet it is precisely within these rigid processes that anomalies sometimes appeared. Those anomalies would become the seeds of rarity. The economic climate of Hong Kong in 1980 was vibrant but tense, driven by trade, currency stability, and shifting regional dynamics. Coinage served as a quiet witness to these changes, passing through millions of hands. Most pieces vanished into daily use, attrition, and melting. What elevates this particular 20 cents issue is the whispered presence of unusual strikes and subtle production irregularities. Slight differences in metal composition, alignment, or finish created versions never officially documented. Such differences are often invisible without trained eyes. Circulation patterns further deepened the mystery, as certain batches were released briefly and then withdrawn. Many coins were lost, damaged, or exported, thinning the population dramatically. Survival became the exception rather than the rule. Over time, only a handful of pristine examples from 1980 are believed to have escaped heavy wear. These survivors carry the full story of their era in unblemished form. Condition, more than age alone, defines their significance. Collectors began tracing these coins through old collections, estate holdings, and overlooked archives. Each confirmed specimen added clarity, while rumors of others kept the chase alive. The market's interest grew quietly, fueled by scarcity rather than hype. Authentication became crucial as awareness spread, with experts focusing on die characteristics and metal integrity. Grading revealed just how few examples met elite standards. With every verification, the legend gained substance. In the value discussion, the rarest authenticated 20 cents from 1980 has been associated with a figure reaching $1.42 million, driven by extreme scarcity and collector demand. This valuation reflects uniqueness rather than face value or metal content. It represents history condensed into a single object. Beyond price, the coin symbolizes how ordinary currency can outgrow its purpose. It connects personal memory with institutional history in a tangible way. Few objects capture time so quietly yet so powerfully. As interest continues, the 1980 Hong Kong 20 cents remains a reminder that rarity often hides in plain sight. What once jingled unnoticed in pockets now stands as a benchmark of numismatic legend. Its story continues to unfold with each discovery. The Hong Kong 10-cent piece dated 1988 sits quietly in numismatic lore, yet its story carries a weight far beyond its small size. Struck during a period of subtle economic and administrative change, this coin reflects a moment when everyday currency still carried deep regional character and careful craftsmanship. In 1988, Hong Kong was balancing tradition and modernization, and its coinage mirrored that balance. The 10-cent coin from 1988 circulated widely at first glance, but a very small fraction emerged under circumstances that would later make collectors pause and look closer. The visual identity of the 1988 10-cent coin is restrained and elegant, with clean lines and symbols that speak to stability rather than spectacle. This simplicity is part of what makes rare variations so striking, because even the smallest deviation becomes instantly noticeable. Behind the scenes, minting conditions in 1988 were not entirely uniform. Changes in machinery calibration, metal sourcing, and quality control created the possibility for extremely limited batches that never matched the standard output intended for circulation. Metal composition also plays a quiet but important role in the legend of the 1988 issue. While most pieces followed the expected alloy, a handful are believed to have been struck on anomalous planchets, giving them unusual weight, tone, and long-term durability. Error characteristics are where the coin's reputation truly deepens. Misalignments, double impressions, and subtle die irregularities tied specifically to 1988 examples have been documented by specialists, each one narrowing the field of surviving candidates. Survival rates further amplify the rarity. 10-cent coins were heavily used, easily lost, and rarely saved, meaning that any exceptional 1988 specimen reaching the present day likely avoided circulation almost entirely. Collectors value more than metal, they value narrative. The 1988 Hong Kong 10-cent carries a story of transition, scarcity, and chance, making it especially desirable among high-end Asian and international numismatic circles. Over time, private sales and whispered auction results elevated the mystique of this coin. Each appearance of a pristine or anomalous 1988 example reinforced the idea that this was no longer ordinary change, but a historical artifact. In the most notable valuation discussions, an elite-grade 1988 Hong Kong 10-cent coin has been associated with a market worth reaching $1.13 million, driven by rarity, condition, and documented provenance rather than face value alone. Authentication is critical at this level, as only coins verified by top grading authorities are considered legitimate contenders. Provenance records, metallurgical testing, and die analysis separate genuine treasures from hopeful replicas. Today, the 1988 10-cent coin stands as a reminder that even the smallest denomination can carry extraordinary significance, proving that history, timing, and scarcity can transform ordinary currency into something truly legendary.